In this video, I wanted to talk about illness as an opportunity for growth and healing. Um, it's a bit of a different perspective on illness, but I think it's really valuable and very important for us to consider it. So, usually when we get sick or we get diagnosed with something, especially a chronic illness, especially an illness that is incurable or very complex, um, I think the automatic response for most people that I see, at least, is to sort of take care of it on the physical level, right? And it makes sense because it's usually physical symptoms that cause somebody to seek medical care, and there's value to that 100%. However, what I would say is just don't stop there. Go a little bit deeper with that if you can. The way that I have come to view illness is that it's really just a lack of alignment. And usually it's a lack of alignment with your core fundamental self. So, what I mean by that is, I think when we are born and when we're kids, if you look at kids, they sort of know who they are, right? Like they have their little personalities. They they know what they want, they know what they don't want, and they're not shy about it. And then as time goes on, that personality shifts a little bit, right? Like they tend to do things to fit in more. They tend to notice themselves more and kind of shut down certain aspects of themselves that make them uncool or make them feel like they don't belong or whatever it might be. And I think as adults, that really is a big part of how we function. Um, and so we get ourselves into situations where we're doing things because we feel like we're expected to do them. We feel like we have to do them. A good example is people who go to jobs every day that they absolutely hate. Um, and of course, there are practical reasons that we need to do things like that. But we start to, like, we get on into this place of living in an automatic way, as opposed to reflecting on things and being really in touch with how we feel on a regular basis, on a deeper level than just the physical. So when an illness hits, usually it's physical symptoms that prompt people to seek medical care. And that's one of the reasons that I think the body is so wonderful, because it truly will send you a message, and it'll get to the point where you have no choice but to listen and you have no choice but to pay attention. So when that happens, it's interesting because our lives are already kind of disrupted, right? You're having to take time off work usually to go see your doctor or your specialist, to do lab work, to get an MRI, like whatever it is. Usually it's a process, right? But I think even that little disruption in our regular day-to-day living is actually quite a positive thing, even though I know that it doesn't feel that way when you're in it. But the point is that illness shakes things up. Illness makes us step outside of our day-to-day living, and that in itself is a gift. And I think, yeah, what I usually see is people who come in and they've got some sort of chronic illness, and they assume that it's diet related always. Um, and sometimes it is, right? I mean, sometimes truly it's you change their diet and things normalize. But most of the time, in my experience and in my own healing, right? Like we've all had experiences where we've been diagnosed with something. Um, Usually, it's more multifaceted than that. And usually the illness calls you to, yeah, look at something on the physical level. And maybe if you do that, certain things will shift, but other symptoms will remain the same. And then it's like, okay, so what comes next? Like, where can we go to next? And one of the things that I really encourage people to ask, because a lot of the time the question is, why is this happening to me? Like, what did I do? I thought I was living well. I thought I was doing things well. To reframe that, and instead of asking, why is this happening to me, ask, why is this happening for me? What is this illness trying to teach me? What is it trying to show me about myself, about my relationship with myself, about my relationship with my body, about my relationship with my food, my family, my husband, my wife, my child, whatever it is. Because I truly feel that illness at its core, if we choose to look at it this way, it challenges us to come back to who we truly are on a more fundamental level. And notice what happens to your personality, or what kind of changes occur when you do get sick. Are you fearful? Do you lose hope? Do you kind of go into fixing mode and you say, no matter what, this is going to get fixed and we're going to get through it? Like, what does it bring out in you? Just notice all of these things. Notice what it asks of you. So does the illness require you to ask more for help? Maybe you're asking for help for the first time in your life because you need someone to watch your kids while you go to a medical appointment. Notice how that makes you feel. All of these things are so important. And anything that an illness brings out in you is an important piece of the puzzle. So just notice it. I think that's all I want to say about that topic. So, just if you're dealing with an illness, especially if it's chronic or more serious, see if you can ask yourself those questions. And it might actually require you to have to sort of get into a calmer state of mind, because I know panic and fear can be very real. But if you're able to quiet your mind, and if you're able to get into a more reflective place, just see if you can make that a habit and a practice to really reflect and see what is this illness truly trying to teach me? What is it offering me? How is it trying to bring me back to myself? Okay. If you have any questions, as always, please feel free to send me an email. You can do that through my website. All right. Take care.